arrived at Valley of the Gods and had just an unbelievably beautiful sunset as we drove in. So we're doing a 3-day trip here, and we're just going to spend some time enjoying this beautiful valley. So we thought this would be a good way to celebrate having our hiker trailer for a year now. We also have got a fair bit of new gear that we have only got out for one trip prior to this, and so we're going to kind of go over our experience with those different things and see how it works out for us.
Also, if you can't tell, it's cold here. We have a billion layers on right now, and it's only going to get colder tonight.
Well, it is chilly on the first night. We barely got our intro done before the sun set for the evening. Can't see it at all, but we've got a camera set up to do some night astrophotography with a time lapse. And we're just trying our best to stay warm next to our propane fire. On this current time lapse we're doing an 8-second exposure, and then it's going to take a picture every 10 seconds, and then we have it set for 2 hours. So hopefully we'll get a pretty cool time lapse out of that, and we'll throw it up after this.
So Doug commandeered my camping blanket we got from Costco, which I highly recommend. We're gonna have him do a little fashion show. It's got a hood, and then yeah, there you go, nice turnaround. It's got little buttons so you can use it as an actual blanket or like a little cape, and then it's got little armhole thingies on the inside. Ta-da! But it's very nice. I highly recommend if you can find it at Costco. And this is how he keeps his heat.
Good morning from Valley of the Gods. We got in last night just as the sun was setting and got some incredible drone shots on our way in. We also did a bunch of astrophotography, trying different things out last night, and we're able to come up with an amazing time lapse with the moon eventually rising and lighting up the mountains. Really excited to continue to try new things with that. We're hoping to head up to our right to a little bit better campsite tonight, so we're just kind of waking up for the morning. Either way, this is a great campsite. We're really happy with the area, and it's just unbelievably beautiful.
To move to the spot that we wanted yesterday, so here we are in all its glory. We put the hiker up on some rocks so we could level out a little bit better, and now we're gonna get set up again, and the sun's coming out, so it's starting to warm up. It's still cold. I have like 5 layers on.
This is the view out from our new spot. We were just down there. This is just there's a little road up here, and you get a view of both halves of the valley. And then I think it's Cattle or Castle Butte. I can't remember for sure. We're just getting everything kind of back. We just tossed it all in the camper. So getting it all back out, put some stuff in the car, and the rest of it organized where we usually put it. Got this awesome rock structure behind us as well.
Headed out this way to look for a geocache that's pretty close to the campsite. It's on the right side of this rock formation. Are you eating snow, baby? Excuse me.
Glenna found the geocache pretty quick. There was a trail pretty much leading right to it. So our camp's back on that side. What'd you find?
Just a lot of cards and little doodads.
Yeah. The size of some of these rocks falling down on this side is just insane.
It's so weird.
The little trail we were on ended, so we decided that we're just gonna go down to this wash and then take the wash back up towards camp, and then we'll have just a little bit of elevation on the way out. Well, we made it pretty much all the way down. We are just kind of staying out of the wash because it looks pretty muddy. These rocks are huge.
Welcome to our campsite here in Valley of the Gods. We were able to move up to the site that we wanted this morning, and so now we are sitting looking at an incredible view in front of us and also an incredible view behind us. So we thought we'd kind of go over some of the new gear that we've gotten recently, since people like myself watch different videos and like to see different people's real life experience. Most of the new gear has only been used for 2 trips, so it isn't going to be a long-term review, but
First
it's
impressions.
a first impression.
To start things off, I got this nice camp blanket from Costco. Weatherproof Vintage is what it's called.
Okay.
So I got this blanket at Costco. I want to say it was around $20 or $30. Nothing crazy, but it's just a nice outside wearable blanket with a hood that attaches and detaches. I'm just all about the coziness. So that's why this is one of my favorites.
So one of the larger purchases we made was the EcoFlow Delta, and we primarily got it because we do want to eventually change over to using a fridge instead of coolers, and we already had solar panels for the lead acid battery. We just needed a power bank that we thought would support a fridge well. So we picked that up at Costco. They were running a really good sale, and it was something that was on our radar. So we pulled the trigger at that point. Our first impression on the battery is overall we really like it. Our primary use for the battery currently, because we're doing some winter camping, is using an electric blanket. So the version we got has 1,300 watt hours of capacity, and that will run the blanket for around 13 hours. Real life testing, we got closer to 10 hours, but it's been really cold, and I know that that has an impact on lithium-ion batteries, so we'll see how that progresses. Otherwise, we've been really happy with the ability to kind of have something to move between the car and the camper, and we still have the lead acid running the primary electronics in the camper, and we'll probably continue to use that until it doesn't work anymore. So one thing that I was not expecting, and I'm sure that it's in the specifications, but last night we had the Delta in the galley and it was very cold. I think the low last night was 17 degrees, and so it performed fine as far as output goes, and it only used, I think, 7%, and we only ran it for a couple of hours last night. We were trying to be more conservative on this trip, and but I wanted to test out the solar to charge it back up this morning, and when I plugged it in, it just had a blinking cold temperature on it, so it was not wanting to charge due to the battery being too cold. So I set the battery outside to warm up in the sunlight, and it took about till noon, and so that only leaves 6-7 hours at 100 watts input on the solar, so we can really only utilize 600 to 700 watt hours in order for that to be fully charged by the time that the sun goes down.
The electric blanket that we got, we found on Amazon. Well, technically one of our friends had it, and I wrapped myself in it at their house and then immediately added it to my Amazon cart. And Doug was not a believer at first. And now he is. So we got the queen size, and we'll try to figure out if we can link it down below if anybody's interested. It was pretty decently priced. So we got the queen size with the faux fur and Sherpa. And the way that we use it is we set it on top of our mattress where it so we lay on top of it, and it just kind of warms the mattress up, and then our blankets and sleeping bags on top of it, the warmth kind of seeps through and stays in there. So we're basically incubating ourselves. But it really helps you stay nice and toasty.
So the first time we used it was our last trip, which was just a single night, and so we started it up a little extra early because we knew we could just plug the battery in the next day at home, and the dogs jumped right in the camper and curled up, and they were out for the rest of the night.
Another item that we got was this little portable table. It kind of folds up similar to a camping chair or something. The top comes off and then the legs all fold in. But it's nice and sturdy. It's been great to just eat on, or in the future if I'm, have photos to edit or something, I can put my laptop on it. It's just a nice general sturdy table. That's also
Doesn't take up much space.
Yeah, it does not take up much space. It's also another Amazon purchase, so we will again try to link things down if anybody's interested. There's a million similar tables to these that I'm sure are all great. This one,
it was interesting because when we got it, we had our family Christmas, and my brother got a different one. And one nice thing about this one is that there's where the pole's attached, there's a little notch that really holds it in stable, whereas his didn't have that. And so there are subtle differences, and we've been really happy with this one, that's for sure. And then the last thing we did was kind of a DIY upgrade. We put some reading lights in, and those have been fantastic. We really wanted an option beyond just the dome light, which was all we ordered standard from the factory. So they are 2 reading lamps, and then they're touch dimmable, and so you can just tap through. It's got 3 different colors of light on each individual light. So each light has a cool, a warm, and then a mix of the 2. And then you hold it down to dim down in the cycle, and then let go, and then hold, and it'll dim back up, and then tap to turn off or go back through the light cycles. So been really, really happy with those. Just using the Mr. Buddy to warm the toes for a little while. It is getting chilly out. Beautiful sunset happening. Got another great set of drone video. All right, we are getting our fire going for the evening. And one thing I just thought about is I'm pretty sure people probably think, why the heck do we carry 2 full-size propane tanks? And that's because we use this propane fire pit for hours and hours on end on high to keep warm. So need lots of propane, and the stove that we won in the hiker giveaway also uses the full-size propane tank. I know we could get 11 pound, but we'll go through
a tank and a half easy. So we're looking forward to doing another set of night photography tonight, get a couple different shots, and then another time lapse. Well, the wind has picked up today and it is feeling even colder, even though technically it is warmer. So we're gonna pack up. At the very least, we're gonna find a place that is less windy than the top of this hill. And it is possible that we are gonna head back and just take our time, go to Monument Valley, and then head back to Phoenix from there. All right, we are headed out of Valley of the Gods. Had a awesome time here, but just a little too cold and windy. We are almost to the end of the Valley of the Gods loop, and it is definitely passable for any vehicle. If it's wet, that would change probably very quickly. You definitely need 4x4. You can see where there are past ruts and stuff in the mud, but as of right now, very easy drive, so definitely could do it even in a sedan. You'd go pretty dang slow in a sedan, but very decent road overall.
We made it to the top of the switchbacks, and now we're just kind of checking it out up here. Lots of snow and a lot colder up here. Really pretty views driving up top, and I get car sick pretty easily, and I think because we had to take it so slow, but the switchbacks weren't hairpin turns that normally make me sick, so that was good.
And the dogs wanted to get out and play in the snow, so we're gonna let them. Sheesh. I stopped at the top of these switchbacks really quick just to get a view out, and it is insane. I'll have to look up and see what the elevation difference is, but it's got to be close to 2,000 feet. So that road there is the Valley of the Gods loop that we were on, and we were out somewhere there in the center of the screen, but just incredible seeing this from up high.
There is a geocache up here. We're gonna go find it. Doug's staying in the car with the dogs. Looks like there's a pretty epic viewpoint up here. So we're just gonna go up here. Alright, so I did not find the geocache. I was kind of cold, so it wasn't looking super hard. But regardless, it was a beautiful view.
We are at the Forrest Gump Hill and just got some pictures of Glenna. Well, we just stopped at the entrance for Monument Valley, and unfortunately they don't allow entry to the scenic drive after 3 p.m. I think that's the winter hours, and then it's 4 p.m. during the summer hours. So we are just going to head on back to Phoenix, but we were still able to get some really cool pictures at some of the different scenic pullovers on the way up to Monument Valley, so not a total loss.